Welcome to Express Training Bites. I am super pumped for our guest today. We have an amazing guest. He goes by Mr. Be Your Brand. His MBA actually lists his name as Brandon Williams. He's with Plot Twist Merch and Marketing. And today he's going to talk to us about branding and positioning, kind of from the outside looking in. And I'll let him go ahead and describe that a little bit more. Brandon, take it away, man.
Solid. No, appreciate it. And from one Brandon to another, man, appreciate the invite to come on here and have this conversation with you. I remember when we first met, it was actually my first experience at PPAI on the showroom floor. And, you know, being fairly new to the industry, I'm just overwhelmed, swamped with information. I come across your booth and instantly we had a connection, you know, just based off of namesake. So I was like, he's a Brandon, you know, he seems like a pretty cool guy already. And then, you know, come to find out, you know, what it is that Promo Corner is all about and what the services that you offer. I was like, wow, this guy's, he's awesome within this industry. And I definitely want to plug in with him and, you know, pick his brain to get more information. So I'm grateful to be connected with you, man, and definitely be in this moment on this platform. And just kind of the background of, you know, where we were when we first met on the showroom floor and where I've taken my company, Plot Twist Merch and Marketing, to this day. It's been quite a journey, you know. So my background is actually within sales and marketing within the luxury travel space. So I've been working within resorts and high-end travel industry for close to a decade. And within that, promotional products was always a big part of the strategy. So constantly, you know, sourcing products, figuring out the right branded products to connect with our customer base and create those incremental visits. But with the entrepreneurial state of mind, I was looking for an opportunity of a business that I could start outside of just the corporate world. And that's how I actually landed within the promotional product industry, because I was familiar with it and I seen the opportunity with promotional products. But with that being said, kind of from the outside looking in, coming into this industry of promotional products, you know, there's a lot of strategizing that I had to come up with as far as being a newcomer to the game and how I'm going to make my splash and my presence and awareness known within this industry. And that really just boiled down to the branding part of it all. You know, one of the biggest sayings that I've always lived by is that there is no second chances for first impressions. So I knew that coming in as the small fish in a big pond, that I really had to develop a brand that, you know, really stood out and strike people from the initial kind of interaction with my company, my brand, and the services, and, you know, that I offer, essentially who I am. So within that, I seen a pretty big opportunity amongst kind of our industry, and I did a lot of research and studying amongst other distributors, other suppliers, and it just really allowed me to start to create a space within, you know, my company on how I want to differentiate myself amongst others, as every business does. You know, everybody enters a space and figures out what is their unique selling proposition, how do they differentiate themselves from their competitors, and I've just felt like coming in from the outside in, I had that slight advantage of actually having fresh eyes within the industry. So like looking at a lot of different suppliers and distributors, I noticed, you know, kind of the consistency and the branding and the messaging was almost, to a degree, a little warehouse-ish. And I knew that I wanted to kind of come in with an upgraded brand appeal. And there's some suppliers and distributors that do this really well, you know, you being one of them. So I wanted to kind of create more of a striking brand that actually complemented and matched the brands of the clientele that I was actually targeting. And my niche market, coincidentally, is travel and entertainment. And even though those things are on hiatus at this point in time, I wanted to make sure that my branding was on par with what their branding is, because a lot of the times I feel as though the distributors, we are targeting different audiences and markets who have better branding than our company. And I've seen it time and time again. And it's when it comes down to kind of the trust factor of it all is, you know, why would a company want to do business with us in a branding and marketing space if their branding and marketing is superior to what we are presenting to them as, a consultant or as a business, So that was kind of the opportunity that I've seen, and why I've, really placed a super huge emphasis on, gathering my brand consistency across many different platforms, and really, upgrading the imagery to match kind of the days, the time of days. And really, we're kind of in a modern day e-commerce space where, branding is just clean, simple, vibrant, and really to just strike people and catch the eye. Like I said, there's no second chances for first impressions. So that's kind of like the strategy that I use to develop my brand for Plot Twist Merchant Marketing. And especially like right now in this time of, quarantine and downtime, for our economy as a whole, but, even a little bit more so for our industry, being that people aren't really turning to promotional products so heavily at this time. I think it's kind of like a really great time for myself to just continue to polish up my brand, and for a lot of our peers and distributors and suppliers to polish up their brand as well. So as we come out on the other side of this quarantine, that, it's kind of like a new reveal and a fresh life, because it's going to be a new normal. So it's a chance for us to kind of rewrite our imagery as an industry within the eyes of a lot of the clienteles and the markets and audiences that we tune into.
Man, I love that. I wanted to jump back in here real quick because that goes right into, we were kind of talking before, that goes right into what I wanted to talk about, and the reason I reached out to you too. So first of all, yes, we do share a namesake. So when we met each other in Vegas this year, it was like, are we brothers? Like it's just too
Right.
easy to start talking to each
Become
other.
best friends?
Great. yeah, we're best friends. But it was really cool because I felt your energy, and then I could also tell that it was different energy. And you just put a word on it, warehouse-ish. I haven't heard that in such a long time, and it's one of those things that I have been in the industry for about 16 years, and so I'm jaded and I'm stuck in my little tunnel vision of what the industry should be, and that's why I'm super pumped that you're here today. So when you came into the industry, when times were good, we'll talk about quarantine here in a second. When times were good, the number one thing that you wanted to do was just kind of freshen everybody. I think your website says stop the messy. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, because I think kind of the norm has always been, when you have a website as a promotional product distributor, to just list all the products on there, and assuming that, people are going to come onto your website and start, clicking and buying volumes of bulk products, when actually, we're consultants, right? So people are always reaching out to us, for to be consulted on what items they should incorporate into whatever initiative that they have set forward. So actually crowding our websites with these products makes it a little bit more difficult to close the buying deal, in my opinion. So really the marketing and the branding on my website, much like yours, is really simplistic. Really the goal and the driver is to get people to contact you, to send you an inquiry, get that lead generation. Not many people are coming on our websites and buying these volume products like an Amazon store. So it actually crowds and makes our websites messy. It makes our social media messy when, really we want to sell our service of, our expertise. And I think for a long time, that's kind of been an industry standard. From my point of view, from the outside looking in, I was like, wow, every website that I go to just seems like a garage sale. But in the day and time now, living in an e-com world, the internet experience is such a cleaner, more, fluid, simplistic approach to the digital world. And that's what I see as a huge opportunity within the promotional product industry, and, how our branding goes.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that can translate that vision that you have to be able to help somebody kind of take all that clutter and make clean their house and make their brand look good. I mean, that translates end users to distributors, even down to suppliers. So, I mean, that is awesome vision. And I knew I sensed it when we first started talking to each other, and I was like, I got to talk to this guy more. Another thing that I wanted to, that you said a couple of times was, marketing. We're in the marketing industry, but we're trying to sell to people that have better marketing campaigns than we have. One of my favorite quotes that Seth Godin always says is, marketers ruin everything. So how can our industry, from an outsider who's a newbie, how can we, not just in websites, but in pure brand, how can we help ourselves look more now? Because you're going to talk to everybody, and everybody who's been in the industry for as long as I have or longer is going to tell you that our industry is always just a little behind trends. How can we take our industry and make ourselves be the leaders in the marketing world?
Kind of the transition is really how we network with our our market, our audience. From, business is a lot of networking, period. Relationships, rapport, person to person, having that connection with the client and yourself. But what COVID has presented and what the new day has presented is actually these relationships are being built more so online these days. So many people could attribute it to, on social media, how they have some of their best friends and followers or people that they've never met, or never connected with in person, but there's such that common thread and that common value, and they're able to build that rapport through the internet. And I think our industry, us as distributors, have that opportunity to kind of build that same rapport with our clientele and audience via online, and not necessarily neglect our online presence, and, really put focus and effort and, what our home base is online, in the online space. So I think that's a major shift that could happen, which is only compounding, being that distributors, being salespeople, being marketers, we already have the networking piece down. So we can go out and make those relationships and connect with people. And then when we direct them back to their website, it's like doubling down on what we just had a conversation about. It's like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, because, online presence is pretty much your validity. Like, everybody's going to check, how you look online first, to say if it's true or not.
Well, and you are somebody who does way more than just talk about this stuff. You're actually doing that as well. So we met in Vegas. That was about it for the face-to-face, hand-touching, meeting. But ever since then, you and I have been following each other online. And so one of the things, and the reason I've got it back here and you're actually wearing it, is I followed you on Instagram, and all of a sudden I start seeing Mr. B, your brand, post these quarantine and build shirts. And I'm all about, I've got the hustle shirt. I've got all of the, the focus, the patience. I follow all of the Gary V stuff. And I was like, quarantine and build, that's dope. I got to get one of those. And then I see that it's you. And I was like, yes, I know him. I'm buying one. So how has that been for you to be able to not only talk about this and tell distributors that you can do this, but how has that been for you? Have you seen much more success in your distributorship because you were able to be both physical and online? I mean, speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely so. And what is actually created for me is actually it's broadened my reach. It's allowed me to come in contact with more people. So kind of my niche started off, just travel, entertainment, and lifestyle brands. Well, in the midst of COVID, resorts are shut down. There's no such thing as entertainment. Bars, clubs, events, concerts, none of that. So I had to figure out a way to pivot. So I from being in my background in the travel and entertainment industry, I had those contacts and connections that I was planning to lean on. But with that shutting down, I was like, I need to expand my reach and find a way to get in contact with more people. So actually taking on an online strategy has allowed me to actually connect with now nursing homes. I have a few hospital clientele, school districts, to kind of, pitch PPE products, which, is the bread and butter right now. So without my online presence, there's no way that I could have gone outside and shaken hands with people, within these industries that are outside of my niche, but actually utilizing the online marketing and really, being specific in my targeting. There's a little bit of strategy that goes a little bit down the rabbit hole on that part of it all, but getting specific with my targeting and being able to just come in contact with new industries, expand my reach, so that when my niche where I want to work, because that's where my passion lies, reopens and regains, I can step back into that. But for right now, I had to really take on a strategy to try to figure out how to get more clientele, and that happened to be on the internet.
Yep.
Online. Yeah.
Dad joke alert. So it's almost like you had a plot twist in your idea of how to go to market. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. Pun intended. Yeah.
Had to. One of my really good friends in the industry, his name is Danny Henderson, and him and I always say, don't talk about it, be about it. And you are being about it. I appreciate it, man. So I'm going to slowly start to wrap this up here, but can you tell people how they can reach out to you, how they can get this awesome t-shirt, and yeah, just kind of your contact info. How can people reach out to you, man?
Yep, absolutely. So for anybody looking to connect, you could always catch me online. Social media is like the -- vehicle that I use, via Instagram, via Facebook, at Mr. Be Your Brand. That's Mr.B. Your Brand. For furthermore, services, you could contact me, via email at brandon@plottwistproducts.com. And that's the hub for my company, Plot Twist Merchant Marketing. Yeah, man. And I feel as though everybody is in this mode right now. Like, what else can we do in the midst of quarantining, but to actually just sit down and get focused on, what it is that we want to attain, the new visions that we have. Like, this is like the perfect time. Like, the whole world is just like, slow down, but that doesn't mean we have to slow down. It's like the ultimate opportunity to kind of, brand, rebrand, kind of re-strategize. And then on the other side of this thing, it's just going to be like coming out of a cannon, because all this time and dedication that's, taking place to, start something better.
Well, we're marketers, and the toughest part, it's easy to be a marketer when things are great. It's really hard to be a marketer when things are bad. And so the good marketers are going to show and shine. So when things go back to being great, like, it's the good marketers are going to shine. The people that put in the time, that built during this time that things were slow, right? Because we're not inundated with 500 emails that are all actionable emails now. Now we're getting 500 emails saying, buy my PPE, but so there's that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, man, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of today. And that is going to do it for Express Training Bites. Everybody, we'll see you next Thursday.